to be here this morning. Grant is busy dialing in. Sorry about that. Yeah. Once again, apologies, beloveds. So it is so good to be here this morning. We are going to be sharing a bit on our experiences on regarding marriage matters. And there's so many things that we can talk about. There's so many things that we can share on. And this morning, we're just going to touch more on covenant and contract. So that's one of the things that just stood out for us as a couple. And I'm so grateful for these type of sessions. And like Josette mentioned on Tuesdays that, you pay so much money to join these type of sessions, but I'm so grateful and thankful to our pastors for allowing us just to share and also for them to share with us on marriage matters. It's really definitely a life-changing experience. We've learned so much, and there's so many things that we can touch on this morning, and there's so many things that we can share this morning, but then I'm going to have to keep you here the whole morning. But this morning we are going to touch on covenant and versus contract. And this stood really out for us as a couple, when you are in a covenant and when you are in a contract. And this morning, I'm going to allow Grant just to share a bit on the covenant and the contract.
Well, good morning, everybody. Sorry, that's just Sonia. I just want to set the record straight. You might think this morning, but Gershon and Josette were on one screen. Pastor Marco and Pastor Cindy's on one screen. We are still together. Things are okay. It's just this morning we needed to sit differently because the lighting is also not great. So please bear with us. Sonia and myself do things like this during the course of the day. She goes north, I go south, but we do meet at the equator at some point. And when we meet there, then it's a good place to be. So don't stress this morning. But I think as Sonia has said this morning, it's important for us to reflect back. And I always thought, because now I think differently, that we had a good marriage and things were good. And maybe Sonia, I know you can't put on your mic, but just nod if you agree that you think that we had a good marriage before marriage matters, because I think that I don't want people to be surprised. And then I sit here and I say, no, I always thought we had a good marriage. But then the church people on the call this morning, it goes in their hearts. I say, "Manet will weet wat," says Sonia. So Sonia, just nod your head. Okay. So that's good enough for me. But what I want to say, my point really is that I always think that we made a power couple, that we can commune well together, we can work together. But these sessions has really shifted the bar. And I think the purpose really of this is that a lot of these sessions was uitrap sessies where hard things were said to us, but I know it comes from a good place when PC and Pastor Marco always speaks. And it's really to take you to the next level, because sometimes we think things are the way they're supposed to be, but things can be better. And so I think for us, when we spoke about this, I said to Sonia, there's a lot that stood out, but I think for me, everything is encapsulated in covenant. Because as soon as there's covenant, then when the good and the bad comes together, you are still together and you're still doing things together, and it's not a separation. Because I really want to thank God for covenant in this pandemic, because I think a lot of husbands and wives had it difficult because we all went different directions during the course of a work day, but it becomes very different when you see each other's faces the whole day. And to a point where not a lot of people know how to cope with it. And not a lot of people know how to keep the peace with it, because as long as I see you this afternoon, everything's lovey-dovey, things are good. But as soon as we are in each other's space, things can be very different. And so I think Pastor Marco and Pastor Cindy, Pastor Marco, when you went full-time, I think you and Pastor Cindy's already mastered that one. So when the pandemic came, you didn't struggle because you and PC were okay, but some of us did struggle. Sonia was in my space, and I know I made her nar at times, and she made me nar. And so I want to say to us this morning that as we speak about covenant, although it is a spiritual binding, although it is a solemn promise that is made spiritually, we are still people. And that means that we are still going to disagree. That means that things are not always going to be rosy. But it's, as I said, that covenant encapsulates everything, and covenant gives a very different perspective. Because if a lot of marriages, and a lot of people did get divorced in this time, there's a lot of broken homes because there was never a covenant established, there was a contract established. Now, you see, contract is very focused on self. It's about me watching your performance. But covenant is the opposite. Covenant looks at my performance. It appraises yourself. And that is the difference where we sit and we really reflect and we say, and I think for me, when I said about this, there was a lot of things that I could see that was very contractually related. There was never an official contract signed, but just behavior patterns, certain understanding, certain thinking that somehow came into it that we thought that you could sometimes, and I want to say that contract is a very selfish position, because contract looks at things, it forecasts, it looks at trends, it looks at what is the outcome. But covenant is very different. Covenant focuses on self, and it says, how much more can I give? And so I want to make a simple illustration. When PC and Pastor Marco has taught us over the months, and it's really been phenomenal, because when we speak about the very simple things, about are you helping out at home? Are you, when your wife is busy with a church thing or a cell, can you step in and do something? Or do you wait? And for me, a contract will wait, because the contract waits for the other person to respond. But a covenant stands up, and a covenant fills the gap, and covenant says, what can I do? Why am I waiting? And so I think it's very important when we learned about this. And I want to say that, you know, Pastor Marco, I want to say this, that our marriage has shifted in a very peculiar way, because there's not a lot that has changed, but everything has changed. Because certain things still feel the same, but they feel better. But I want to say this, I think as much as it has shifted us, it has shifted our children. Because I think we now work on their nerves. And that is all thanks to Pastor Mark and Pastor Cindy. Because we have these moments where we're just in the kitchen. And I mean, I never had those moments, because at work I went for coffee. Now when I go for coffee, I get something extra. And so when we're in the kitchen, Keanu will pass by, and Keanu is, what's wrong with this guy? Kaylee would pass and shake her head, and she says, ooh, eh, eh. And those are the behaviors. But I want to really say that those are the things that has shifted on the relationship, and we could show love to each other. But now we are more deliberate, and the kids are seeing a very different side of us, which I think it's good, because that is what covenant does. Covenant reestablishes things every day. And so when I thought about this thing of covenant, and Pastor Marco says these things, go do your homework. And I know it's deliberate. And I know a lot of people do their homework, but you're shy to say, be proud when you do your homework. It's important to do your homework. And I want to say that we need to understand that covenant, a marriage covenant, is not just a relational thing, but it is a blood covenant. And the reason why I'm saying that, it's not only the blood of Jesus, which is obviously, that is the pinnacle. But every time when a husband and a wife is intimate, there is a blood sharing. And you might not see it, but it's on a microscopic level. So I want to say to us this morning that it always reminds us, and that's why it ties us back. You see, I can be very nar for Sonia, she can be very nar for me. But as soon as you establish covenant, things become easier. Because sometimes you get to a point, as Gershon said the other day, and thank you, man of God, for being transparent. But I'm also transparent this morning and say, I know I work on Sonia's nerves sometimes, and she works on my nerves. And then she goes north, I go south, but we meet at the equator, because the equator is the covenant. And so I've been blessed, and I must say that for me, really, it's been a different perception. And us as men, particularly, sometimes we have this very contractual view of things, because we think that it's supposed to be like that. It's supposed to be the woman needs to do that, but we can do more. Covenant looks at what can I add more value on. Covenant says, even if you leave, I remain. That's what covenant does. So covenant brings accountability. And so I always say this, that Sonia will never leave me. You will never leave me, Sonia. Because when you pack, I pack with you. And I'm going with you. So there's no way that you will ever, because this is the covenant that we have. But it doesn't mean that we are perfect people when we are in covenant. It means there's always going to be a hashing out of things, and we need to, and sometimes we disagree, and we will in the future. But you know what? The covenant is the thing that seals everything. The covenant is the thing that keeps things together. And I want to really say thank you, because, you know, when Sonia met me, I had nothing and she had nothing. In fact, I used to walk from Lenasia to El Dorado Park. It took me a long time to get there. When I get there, I'm tired, and when I look at the time, I must come back. So I want to say to you, Sonia, I've sacrificed for you, my dear. She always reminds me, and she says to the kids, this guy used to have a six-pack, and I never went to the gym. I was just athletic, and that's how it was. It was all natural. But you know what? I'm a good steward, Pastor Marco, because I don't waste talent. Because when the master comes, he wants more. So yes, I have increased my talents. And so, Sonia, you are blessed. So wives, when you look at your husband, Sandy, when you look at Mike, I want you to remember this. If the tummy is a little bit bigger than it was, it means that there's been growth, and it means that God has been good to you. Because you see, sometimes we want the limits, but there's no limitation with God. So, Sonia, when you see the 8-pack now, be blessed, my dear. Be blessed. Don't tell the kids about the 6-pack, because I have grown. I'm not on the same level anymore. Pastor Marco, we're not on the same level anymore. And so I want to really say, and so when I did all this, and that is what covenant does. Covenant makes you, it allows you to sacrifice without expecting anything in return. And so, as I said, when I met my wife, I had a footer bike, Sandy. It means I was walking. There was no vehicle. I know what it is to get into a taxi to go see her. And the journey has been long. And this year we will be married for 14 years. And so it's been a journey, but I want to thank God for these sessions, because it really reminds you all the time, because sometimes we live past each other and everything becomes contractual. But it's when covenant steps in, covenant says, what can change? What can be improved? Because covenant is better. Covenant is better. And you see, the difference is that everything that is formed on a contract looks at all the legal requirements. But all covenant does, it looks at promise. So when you look at things and it never looks like there's an outcome, covenant sticks. And covenant says that I'm not leaving. It says regardless of what you do today, you haven't done what you're supposed to do, but it's okay, I'm here to help. It's okay, I'm here to replenish, I'm here to refresh. And that really for me has stood out, where Pastor Marco said many times, he says, leave this thing of 50-50. If you say bring your 50 and I bring my 50, then it means where is your other 50 going to? It's not invested. It's all in. And as I said, Sonia will never leave me. But the day, God forbid, if she does, she must take, there's no thing of she's leaving, this is mine and this. I got married for once, and I got married that all in, all chips are in. All chips are in. When we win together. When we lose together. There's not you've done this, I've done this. We do this together. And so that is what covenant really represents. But I want to give Sonia an opportunity to maybe give us a few examples of things that might have changed because of covenant in her space. I don't want to speak on her behalf. I just know that all things are good and things are getting better. And I'm very blessed by these sessions. So from my side, Pastor Marco, Pastor Cindy, really want to say thank you. I'll probably add another 2 cents at the end, but let me give Sonia an opportunity. Over to you, Sonia. Just give me a second.
Okay. Thank you so much, Grant, for exposing me like that. I must say that things hasn't been easy, and these sessions has just made it better. Marriage is, we tend to make things so difficult for ourselves, but yet it is so beautiful. I must say that our journey wasn't easy. We come a long way. Grant and I dated for a very, very long time, to a point where I thought, no, man, I must just probably propose because this guy, he's not doing anything. And ladies, in the first year or two, you are ready. I'm ready to get married now. I want to have that big wedding. I want to have, all the glam and the glitter. And you are so on point. You are so ready. And I want to have children. You just have this beautiful vision of what a wedding is going to be. But let me tell you, marriage matters. And it's really been an exciting journey. We've learned so much, especially when it comes to covenant. It is not it's not something where you married now and this person upset me to a point where I'm going to walk away now. I've had enough of you. There's children involved. There's so many things involved when it comes to marriage. And it's not all about you. It's not me, myself, and I. It's about us. I don't see myself anymore as a single person. Whatever I do is for us. I want to expose Grant a little bit today. So we're doing a few things at home. And, I looked at him yesterday. He was facilitating the guys, and it's cold, and he's standing outside. And, I looked at him with so much gratitude and so much love, the things that he's doing for his family. He's doing it for us. He's making the home so comfortable, our house so comfortable for us. And the things that he does, he doesn't speak much about it, but I know it's for his family. And this morning, I'm so grateful, and I'm so, thankful to God for giving me this husband that I have. And I just want to share something quickly before I give over to Grant. When we were dating, there was this one particular person that wasn't happy with our relationship. And this person even brought Grant to me to dump me. And, it might look and it might seem like, I was so desperate at the time. But if ladies, that this is a man that God has sent for you, you are going to fight for him. Grant literally came to come and dump me because this person told him, you know what, that's not the right girl for you. You better dump her. You better get rid of her. And I stood there and I told him, you know what, you are not going to dump me. You are not going to get rid of me because you are mine and we are going to stick together. And before we got married, we were dating like for 6.5 years. It was really a journey. It was a long, long time. But I thank God for, my boldness and for not giving up on our relationship, for standing up, because I knew I could see that this is a man that's going to look and that's going to take care of me. And I'm so grateful for God. And I'm also so grateful to our pastors, because if it wasn't for them to intervene, sometimes you need a different perspective. You need someone from the outside to give a view on what's happening inside, because, you get so consumed with your troubles, with situations in the marriage, that you just feel I'm always right. It's not me, it's him, it's her. And so it goes on. But, our pastors has been so supportive, and they've always, given us guidance as to what to do and where to do. Yes, Pastor Marco. So, yeah. And if it wasn't for them, I think any person would have just thrown in the towel, because, it's like two cultures coming together, and we need to, adapt to the next person's ways. And the wet towels, the dirty socks, and you name it. But that is covenant. You just don't give up because I've had enough of that wet towel. I'm walking out of this. And that's where covenant comes in. It's not a contract. It's not a loan that you have taken out. It's not a lease that you have taken out. This is not between you and your landlord. This is between you and God. This is a covenant. This is bound. This is, a blood covenant. This is between you and God, your relationship, your marriages. And I'm so grateful. We've dated for such a long time that I have stopped counting the years. Grant will tell the people, we married for so many years, because I'm tired, Sandy, of counting. I've counted, for 6.5 years, it's anniversary this month, it's anniversary this year, and so on. But having that said, I am extremely happy. I love where we at. I love where we're going to. Grant is a strong man. He's a man of God. He's a praying man. And I'm not saying these things this morning to give him a big head, beloveds, because I don't really speak about my husband. I don't really brag about him, and I'm happy for this type of platform that I can really, honor him this morning and tell people that I've got a good man. God has blessed me with a good man. He's a good father. And this morning, I just want to give all the glory to God. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have been here this morning. If it wasn't for his grace, we wouldn't have been sitting here this morning. We wouldn't have been sharing on our journey. It's not easy, ladies and gentlemen. Marriage is sometimes we make it seem so difficult, but there needs to be that communication. There needs to be that understanding between the two of you. We need to come together and pray together and ask God for guidance when it comes in our marriages. Because sometimes it's the little things that can just spark, and then you just give up and you just want to let go and let loose. I don't want to be in this anymore. And I thank God for covenant. I thank the Lord that he's in our marriage. And I thank the Lord that, irrespective of the stuff that we go through, irrespective of the situations we face, we are always together. Over to you, Grant.
Well, thank you, Sonia. Pastor Brad, I see you had some comments about towels. I think Sonia didn't say it was my towels. It's probably hers or the kids. I think I'm better than that. But this is what I wanted to say. You know what? It's important. And I think there's certain things, even in covenant, sometimes we think we know it all in covenant. But there's so many dimensions to this thing that you always learn. And I think for me, I agree 100% with Pastor Cindy when she always says that God has been very deliberate in this lockdown. And it was really to unite husband and wife, because as the marriage goes, so goes the home. And so I think it's very important. But the one thing that I've really learned from this is that husbands, this is advice, please know your wife. Understand that call. Because I'm going to be very honest. If Sonia says, Grant, I don't respond. And then she comes 2 minutes later, she's in the room. Did you not hear I'm calling you? And then I go, exactly. Because then I say to myself, you've made the right decision, because she was going to shout you. So I rather not respond. But when she says to me, young stallion, hey, I'm there. I actually, how our horse runs, I actually have that pose. Then I'm there. So you see, Rocky's got nothing on me. Absolutely nothing. I'm the original stallion, Italian stallion. That's me. And so I want to say to the wives also, and to the husbands, we need to sometimes just be cognizant of these things. We know each other and we're still learning. But there's certain things I know when Sonia calls a certain way, what that means. And so sometimes, and that really dictates my response. And it's not that I'm disrespecting you. It's just for that time, I don't want to be shouted. I don't want to say, yes, ma'am. But when you say Italian stallion, young stallion, you'll get a different response from me. So I just wanted to share that this morning. We have a lot of fun in our homes. I think marriage matters. We are very practical about these things. I just want to close off before Sonia's going to do the communion and say, do your homework. I am a very happy teacher. The student produces homework every day. I don't have a problem. I don't phone parents. I don't have to phone parents and tell them your child didn't do their homework. The homework is done. Thank you so much. Over to you, Sonia.
Thank you, Grant. Yeah, no, do your homework. It's very, very important. And lastly, I have a good relationship with my in-laws. I know Pastor Nim always speak about in-laws and, how important it is. And from the word go, when we met, we had a good relationship. We clicked, we loved one another. And I always say that have respect for your mothers-in-laws and your father-in-laws, because it's a reflection on yourself, how you treat them. It's not a good thing, especially when it comes to your marriages. Husbands and wives don't want to see how you treat their parents. And irrespective of situations or whatever the conflict might be, we always have those issues. Like I said, it's like two tribes coming together. We'll always have conflict, but show it in a how can I say, be obedient, be respectful when it comes to your in-laws. Your husband don't want to see the ugly in you, and you don't want to see the ugly in him. I've been together, Grant and I have been together for a very, very long time. And yes, I don't call my mother-in-law mother. It's Auntie Rex to me for all of those, but I love her dearly. She's definitely a mum to me. She's shown all that. She's got all the qualities of a mum. She's really replaced my mum. And I think our relationship also, I think Grant is so appreciative when it comes to our relationship, because when she comes to our house, it's not for Grant. She comes to me. She even says it, because a lot of people even ask, if is this your mother and not Grant's mother? So that is the type of relationship we have. And being respectful to your in-laws, it really changes and shifts the whole your relationship, your whole marriage. And God has really been good to me. And when it comes to my in-laws, I have amazing people in my life. Honestly, they're very supportive, and I treat them as my own. There was someone in our church, they left years ago, and he asked his wife, doesn't Sonia have family? She's always with the in-laws. That's how close we are. But yeah, no, marriage matters, beloveds, and it's been really a journey, amazing journey. We're learning every day. There's always something new, when it comes to our marriages and our relationships. And God's really been really amazing. Grant is, you know, we reach this point where if I just think about something, Grant has already said it. That's the relationship we have right now. And it's been really a journey, and we're still learning every day. Marriage really matters. These sessions has been so amazing to us. We're learning so much. Every time when we're done with these sessions, we will speak about it, and it's like, marriage matters. We need to do this, we need to do that. We need to replace this. We've done here, we went wrong here, we need to do this right. And it's really been a beautiful journey, and I really do thank the pastors for allowing us to share this morning. As you have our elements together, I just want to pray over the communion. Heavenly Father, we thank you this morning for covenant. We thank you, oh God, that you are in each and every marriage this morning, Father. Lord, as we partake from the table this morning, we are reminded of what Jesus has done on the cross this morning. Thank you, Father, that we can come as a family, as couples, and relationships and marriages this morning, oh God. And as we partake this morning, Father, I pray that you would bless our marriages, bless covenants this morning, oh God. We ask this in Jesus' mighty name as we partake from the bread. And in the same manner, we are going to partake from the wine. It's a reminder of what Jesus has done, and it's just a reflection this morning on covenant and the blessing of the Father that's upon each and every marriage this morning. Thank you so much, beloveds. I don't know if Grant just want to say goodbye to everybody. Oh, Grant is good. So thank you so much, pastors, for allowing us to share this morning. It's been really a journey, and we always have fun after these type of sessions. So may God bless you. Just an announcement, beloveds, we are meeting tonight at 9 p.m. for prayer, as well as tomorrow morning at 6:45. May God bless you, beloveds, and may you just have a beautiful day. See you tonight. God bless you. Bye-bye, everyone.